What if the very vitamins you're swallowing each morning are the reason your health is quietly slipping away? It might sound like an overstatement, but mounting clinical evidence suggests otherwise. For adults over 65, taking the wrong supplements may do more harm than good. In fact, according to the Journal of Medical Aging, JMA, seniors who use the incorrect types or doses of vitamins face up to a 40% increased risk of early death. That's not a headline meant to scare you, that's hard data based on real people and real outcomes. After the age of 65, your body no longer works the way it used to. The liver processes nutrients more slowly. The kidneys aren't as effective at filtering out what your body doesn't need. Your nerves become more delicate. Your recovery time stretches longer and the margin for error gets narrower. And yet many people continue taking the same supplements they used in their 40s or 50s, thinking they're doing something good for themselves without realizing those very capsules may now be building up inside them, damaging their cells and slowly mimicking the symptoms. We too often blame on just getting old. Symptoms like fatigue, dizziness, numbness in the hands or feet, memory slips, mood changes, irregular heartbeat. They don't always come from aging. Sometimes they come from the very vitamins you believe are helping. In this video, we're going to reveal 4 vitamins that adults over 65 should avoid at all costs, and 4 essential ones that can drastically improve your quality of life if taken daily. Stay with us until the very end because the final vitamin we'll discuss has been linked to a 36% lower risk of death from all causes in one of Europe's largest aging studies. You won't want to miss that. But before we get to the good news, let's talk about what not to take. Let's start with a vitamin that most people think is harmless. It's even promoted for healthy skin and good vision. But for older adults, it can gradually lead to serious long-term damage. Number 4, vitamin A in its retinol form. Vitamin A is essential, that's true. It supports your immune system, helps your eyes adjust to darkness, and plays a role in skin health. But here's what they don't often tell you. Not all vitamin A is the same. There are 2 major types: beta-carotene, which comes from plant sources like carrots and sweet potatoes, and retinol, which is the preformed version typically found in animal products and added to supplements. The body converts beta-carotene into vitamin A as needed, making it far less risky. Retinol, on the other hand, is stored directly in the liver, and in seniors, that's where the problems begin. As the body ages, the liver's capacity to process and regulate fat-soluble vitamins like retinol declines. What used to be a helpful daily dose in middle age can quietly turn toxic later in life. And because vitamin A is stored, not flushed, it accumulates. Over time, this can lead to symptoms like blurred vision, joint pain, headaches, and even confusion. But that's just the beginning. Recent studies have linked excess retinol intake in older adults to liver damage, osteoporosis, hip fractures, and even brain shrinkage, especially in those who take high-dose supplements or multivitamins without checking the label. And remember, we're not talking about massive overdoses. These risks can appear even at normal doses if taken consistently over time. In fact, one long-term NIH study followed older adults who regularly supplemented with retinol and found a significantly higher rate of cognitive decline and lower brain volume, particularly in areas tied to memory. This wasn't a short-term side effect. This was long-term structural damage. What's more troubling is that many multivitamins for seniors still include retinol-based vitamin A, often labeled as retinol palmitate or retinol acetate. These are synthetic forms that the body stores aggressively, and once they pile up, the damage can be hard to reverse. You might be asking, how would I even know if it's affecting me? The truth is, you wouldn't. Vitamin A toxicity develops slowly, silently. You might notice dry skin or brittle nails. You might chalk up your low energy and joint aches to aging. You might even think your slight memory slips are normal, but sometimes they're not. That's why this matters so much, especially if you're over 65. Your body isn't failing you. It's trying to keep up in a system that's being overloaded with compounds it no longer processes well. What worked for you 20 years ago might now be quietly wearing you down. So what should you do? First, take a hard look at your supplements. If your multivitamin includes more than 2,500 IU of preformed vitamin A retinol, especially if it's not from beta-carotene, it's time to reconsider. Ask your doctor for a blood test if you're concerned. And more importantly, consider switching to food-based sources of vitamin A that your body can manage more safely, like dark leafy greens and orange vegetables. In the world of senior health, less is often more. And that begins with letting go of outdated supplement habits and embracing what your body truly needs at this stage of life. In the next segment, we'll explore another vitamin that, despite its popularity, has been linked to a significantly higher risk of nerve damage and stroke when taken in the wrong form. And you might be swallowing it every single day without knowing. So as we've just seen, vitamin A, while often praised, can become toxic in older adults when taken in synthetic forms like retinol. Now let's talk about another common nutrient that can turn dangerous quietly and gradually, especially after 65. Vitamin number 3, iron. Iron has a reputation as a hero, a vital mineral that keeps our energy up and fights off fatigue. It's in nearly every multivitamin. Doctors prescribe it for anemia. And if you've ever complained about feeling tired or looking pale, chances are someone has suggested iron supplements. But here's what most people, including many older adults, don't know. After age 65, iron can become a slow, silent threat. Why? Because the body's relationship with iron changes dramatically as we age. When you're younger, your body loses iron through menstruation in women, physical activity, and occasional blood loss. But after 65, and especially for men and postmenopausal women, the body stops shedding iron naturally. Instead, it starts to hold on to it. And unlike some nutrients that are flushed out when they're no longer needed, iron stays. It accumulates primarily in your liver, heart, and pancreas, and over time, this excess iron starts doing real damage. Iron is not like vitamin C or B12 that get excreted in urine if there's too much. Iron is stored, and when it builds up beyond what your body can safely handle, it creates what's known as oxidative stress. That's when excess iron reacts with oxygen and creates unstable molecules, free radicals, that begin to attack healthy cells. The result, a slow-burning fire within your body. Over time, this oxidative stress inflames your tissues, damages organs, and accelerates aging from the inside out. Think of it as rust forming inside your organs, silently corroding your health while you continue taking your daily health pill. But that's not all. High iron levels have also been linked to the formation of lipid peroxides, damaging compounds that are associated with some of the most feared diseases of aging: Alzheimer's, cancer, and heart disease. And perhaps the most frustrating part of all this, most seniors don't even need iron supplements in the first place. For men, the need for extra iron usually ends after puberty. Women may need additional iron during childbearing years, but after menopause, the need drops significantly. Despite this, many seniors continue taking iron just in case, unaware that their bodies are no longer equipped to process the excess safely. Worse still, iron is often included in senior-targeted multivitamins, especially those marketed for boosting energy or treating brittle nails. But unless you've been diagnosed with iron deficiency anemia, taking supplemental iron may be doing far more harm than good. The risk is especially high if you're taking iron daily without any lab testing. Iron overload doesn't always cause immediate symptoms. But over the years, it can lead to fatigue, joint pain, abdominal discomfort, and more seriously, long-term damage to the liver and heart. And unlike some vitamin side effects that reverse once you stop taking the pill, iron overload is much harder to undo. Once it's stored in your organs, it doesn't just vanish. Some cases require medical treatment like phlebotomy, controlled blood removal, or chelation therapy to bring iron levels back down. So what should you do? The first step is don't self-prescribe iron supplements. Always ask your doctor to test your ferritin and iron saturation levels before taking anything. If your levels are normal or high, there's no benefit and serious risk in taking more. In fact, cutting back could protect your heart, brain, and liver as you age. If your multivitamin still includes iron and you're over 65, without a diagnosed deficiency, it might be time to switch. Look for iron-free formulations designed for older adults. They exist and they're much safer for long-term use. And when it comes to getting iron through your diet, trust your food first. Lean meats, legumes, leafy greens, and whole grains contain iron in amounts your body can handle and regulate naturally without triggering overload. Your energy may not come from a capsule, it may come from not taking the wrong one. Iron is essential, yes, but only in the right amounts and only when your body truly needs it. After 65, less is often more. And in the case of iron supplements, less could literally save your life. As we discussed earlier, too much iron after 65 can quietly accumulate in your body and harm your organs from the inside out, especially if you're taking it without medical need. But iron isn't the only supplement that becomes a hidden threat with age. Vitamin number 2. Calcium. Before we get there, let's finish the warning on iron, particularly for women. After menopause, women no longer lose iron through monthly cycles. So unless you've been diagnosed with iron deficiency anemia, or you've experienced significant blood loss due to surgery, ulcers, or chronic illness, you're probably already getting more than enough iron from food alone. You may not realize it, but foods like red meat, poultry, beans, spinach, and even fortified breakfast cereals are rich in iron. And when you stack a supplement on top of that, it can tip your internal balance, flooding your system with more iron than it can safely handle. The problem is that the signs of iron overload are deceptively subtle. Think about it: joint pain, fatigue, memory issues, irregular heartbeat. How many times have these been chalked up to just aging? But behind the scenes, that excess iron could be slowly damaging your brain, liver, and heart. And here's the kicker: unlike low iron, which can be quickly corrected with supplements or diet, high iron takes months, sometimes years to bring back down. And the damage it causes may already be done before the symptoms even begin. So what can you do? If you're over 65 and currently taking a multivitamin with iron, pause and talk to your doctor. Ask for a serum ferritin test and transferrin saturation test. These two simple blood tests will reveal how much iron is stored in your body. If the levels are high, you may need to cut back on red meat and stop all iron-containing supplements immediately. A safer step: switch to a senior multivitamin labeled iron-free. These are designed with the understanding that older adults rarely need additional iron unless under close medical supervision. Iron might have been helpful when you were younger, but after 65, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire your organs no longer have the strength to extinguish. And that brings us to the next concern, one that may seem even more surprising. Vitamin number 2 is calcium. Yes, calcium, the same mineral found in every bone health commercial, every senior nutrition pamphlet, and practically every multivitamin marketed to people over 50. But here's what most older adults don't realize: calcium supplements, especially when taken on their own, can increase your risk of heart attacks, strokes, and dangerous artery calcification. That's not alarmism. That's not marketing. That's established science. Calcium is essential, no doubt. It plays a critical role in bone strength, muscle function, nerve transmission, and even heartbeat regulation. But as with iron and vitamin A, where calcium goes in your body matters more than how much you take. When you're younger, your bones act like a sponge, efficiently soaking up calcium with the help of estrogen, testosterone, and growth hormones. But after 65, particularly in postmenopausal women and aging men, that absorption slows dramatically. Your bones become less responsive, and instead of going where it's needed, the calcium starts accumulating in places it shouldn't. So where does the excess go? Into your soft tissues, your joints, and most dangerously, your arteries. This is where the real problem begins. Excess calcium floating in the bloodstream can settle into the walls of your blood vessels, leading to arterial stiffness, blockages, and plaque formation. Over time, this condition known as vascular calcification increases your risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, and stroke. And yet most seniors are never told this. They're simply advised to take calcium for strong bones without any mention of how ineffective or even dangerous it can become without the right supporting nutrients like vitamin K2 and magnesium, which help guide calcium to the bones and keep it out of the arteries. And let's not forget, many people already get a fair amount of calcium from their diets. Dairy products like milk, cheese, yogurt, plus leafy greens, almonds, and fortified juices already supply considerable calcium. When you layer on a supplement, especially one that isn't balanced or monitored, your body becomes overloaded. You might think you're doing the right thing by taking that bone support capsule every morning, but if it's depositing calcium in your heart rather than your bones, the result can be tragic. So if you're taking calcium supplements right now, especially high-dose standalone tablets, it's time to rethink that habit. The most responsible move: speak with your healthcare provider. Have them check your calcium levels, your vitamin D status, and potentially bone density if necessary. And if you do need supplementation, make sure it's part of a well-formulated plan, not a generic pill you picked up from a shelf. Because after 65, more calcium doesn't always mean stronger bones. Sometimes it means weaker arteries and a heart that has to work harder to survive. As we just uncovered, calcium supplements, once thought of as bone insurance, can actually backfire after 65, hardening your arteries instead of strengthening your bones. But that brings us to the most important part of today's video, the #1 most dangerous vitamin for seniors. But first, let's wrap up calcium. Many older adults take calcium with the best intentions, hoping to protect their bones from fractures or brittle density. But the issue isn't just about how much calcium you take, it's about whether your body can actually use it correctly. Without the right supporting nutrients, your body doesn't direct calcium into the bones where it belongs. Instead, it pushes it into the arteries, the joints, and the soft tissues, places where it builds up and causes long-term harm. You might think you're strengthening your skeleton, but in reality, you could be raising your risk of stroke or heart disease. Even more troubling, calcium supplements are known to cause digestive discomfort in many seniors, things like bloating, constipation, and interference with the absorption of other vital minerals such as zinc and iron. And if you're taking acid blockers for reflux or GERD, which many older adults do, your stomach's ability to absorb calcium drops significantly. That means the supplement isn't helping your bones and might actually be making things worse. So now you've got poor digestion, little to no bone benefit, and more strain on your heart, all from a pill that was supposed to help. So what's the smarter alternative? Get your calcium from food. Whole natural sources of calcium are safer, more absorbable, and come with other essential nutrients that work together in harmony. You can find excellent sources in leafy green vegetables like kale and collard greens, sardines with bones, plain yogurt, almonds, chia seeds. These foods offer calcium in its most bioavailable form, meaning your body is more likely to absorb and utilize it effectively without risking toxic buildup. And if you truly do need more calcium, make sure your supplement includes vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. These two nutrients act as your body's traffic controllers. They direct calcium into your bones and keep it out of your arteries. Without them, calcium is like a wandering traveler with no destination. And that's when the damage begins. So take a look at your multivitamin. If it still includes 500 to 1,000 milligrams of calcium and you're already eating a calcium-rich diet, it might be time to rethink your approach. Because your bones don't just need calcium, they need balance, movement, hormonal support, and precision. And your heart. It needs you to keep calcium where it helps, not where it harms. Now let's talk about the most dangerous vitamin of all, and the one that surprises most people, vitamin number 1, vitamin B6, when taken in high doses. This one catches people off guard. After all, vitamin B6 has a reputation for being safe and helpful. It's marketed for nerve health, brain function, and energy support. It's in dozens of multivitamins. It's often recommended by doctors. But what they don't always explain is this. For people over 65, high doses of B6 can become neurotoxic. Let that sink in. A vitamin you've probably seen as harmless, maybe even essential, can actually begin to damage your nervous system when taken in excess. Here's why. Vitamin B6 is water-soluble, which means most people assume that whatever your body doesn't need just gets flushed out. But B6 is different. When taken in large amounts, especially from supplements and energy boosters, it begins to accumulate in nerve tissue instead of leaving your body. And once it builds up, it becomes toxic. Over time, high doses of B6 can damage the sensory nerves, leading to symptoms like tingling in the hands and feet, numbness or burning sensations, balance issues, muscle weakness, and in many cases a sharp decline in physical coordination. These symptoms are often misdiagnosed in seniors. A doctor might assume it's diabetic neuropathy, age-related degeneration, or thyroid complications. But in reality, it could be B6 toxicity silently damaging your nerves because of oversupplementation. Here's what the research says. The official tolerable upper intake limit for vitamin B6 is 100 milligrams per day. But studies have shown that even 50 milligrams per day, when taken consistently, can trigger toxicity in older adults, particularly those with slower liver function, reduced kidney clearance, or underlying health conditions. The real danger. Many over-the-counter products contain 200% to 500% of the daily limit in a single capsule. That's before you even add in your daily multivitamin fortified foods or brain booster supplements. And once the nerve damage begins, recovery is often slow and incomplete. Seniors are especially at risk because their bodies no longer metabolize and clear excess vitamins as efficiently. And if you already have diabetes, thyroid imbalance, or take medications affecting nerve health, the margin for error becomes razor thin. So what's the safe way forward? You still need vitamin B6, absolutely, but in moderation and primarily from food. The daily recommended intake is just 1.5 milligrams for women and 1.7 milligrams for men, and that's easily achieved through a healthy diet. Some of the best natural sources include chickpeas, tuna and turkey, bananas, potatoes, fortified whole grain cereals. Unless a clinical deficiency is confirmed by blood work, there is no reason to supplement vitamin B6 in high doses after 65. The risk far outweighs the reward. And remember, feeling tired or foggy doesn't always mean you need more vitamins. Sometimes it means you've had too much. As we just wrapped up, too much vitamin B6 after 65 can do more harm than good, especially when it comes to your nerves. That closes out the 4 vitamins seniors should avoid unless guided by a doctor. Now let's shift gears to something far more empowering. These are the 4 essential vitamins every senior over 65 should consider taking daily, ranked from least to most critical. Let's begin with number 4, magnesium, one of the most overlooked yet vital nutrients in the aging process. Magnesium doesn't get the spotlight like calcium or vitamin D, but make no mistake, it's foundational for healthy aging. And the truth is, by the time you reach your late 60s or 70s, your magnesium levels have probably taken a major hit, whether you realize it or not. Why does this happen? Because as we age, a few key things shift against us. Absorption declines. The aging gut doesn't take in nutrients as efficiently. Kidneys excrete more. You lose magnesium through urine faster than you used to. Medications interfere. Diuretics, acid blockers, and blood pressure drugs, all common in seniors, can strip magnesium right out of your system. So what does this deficiency look like? It creeps in silently and often gets mistaken for normal aging. You might notice muscle cramps, persistent fatigue, shaky sleep patterns, irregular heartbeat, anxiety or restlessness, trouble concentrating, even early signs of insulin resistance. It's subtle at first, a bad night's sleep here, a twitching calf muscle there. But over time, low magnesium affects over 300 enzyme systems in your body. That includes the systems that control nerve function, blood sugar, blood pressure, and even your heartbeat. In fact, research has linked magnesium deficiency to dementia, atrial fibrillation, and type 2 diabetes, conditions that become more common and more dangerous with age. But here's the good news: when magnesium is restored to healthy levels, seniors often report noticeable improvements. Things like better, deeper sleep, reduced nighttime leg cramps, improved balance and coordination, sharper thinking and calmer nerves. The key, however, is choosing the right form of magnesium. Many of the cheap store-bought supplements contain magnesium oxide, a form that's poorly absorbed and often causes bloating or diarrhea. That's not helpful, especially not for an older digestive system. Instead, look for bioavailable forms, ones that your body actually absorbs and uses. The best options include magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate, magnesium malate. These forms are gentler on the stomach, better absorbed, and far more effective, especially in aging adults. So what's the right amount? For most seniors, the ideal dose is between 250 to 400 milligrams per day, depending on your current magnesium intake and health status. But as always, it's best to speak with your doctor before starting any new supplement routine. You can also get more magnesium from real foods like leafy greens, spinach, chard, kale, avocados, pumpkin seeds and almonds, black beans, lentils, and quinoa. But here's the catch: due to modern soil depletion, magnesium content in even the healthiest foods has dropped over the decades. That's why many seniors, especially those on multiple medications, may benefit from supplementation to stay ahead of the curve. Now let's move to vitamin number 3, which might just be one of the most powerful allies in your fight against aging. This one isn't just about bones, it plays a role in over 1,000 cellular processes, from immunity and inflammation to hormone regulation and even cancer protection. Number 3, vitamin D3. Most people think of vitamin D as the bone vitamin. But what they don't realize is that vitamin D3 is actually a hormone, one that affects almost every major system in your body. And after the age of 65, your body's ability to produce it drops by more than half. Why? Because as we get older, our skin becomes less efficient at converting sunlight into vitamin D. If you spend more time indoors, live in northern regions, or wear sunscreen frequently, your body may not be producing nearly enough D3 to maintain optimal health. And the consequences? They're serious. Low levels of vitamin D3 have been linked to fatigue, bone thinning, muscle weakness, poor immune response, higher risk of infection. But that's just the beginning. In a major 2020 review published in the British Medical Journal, researchers found that seniors with vitamin D deficiency had a 50% higher risk of respiratory infections, 30% higher risk of dying from all causes. Think about that. 30% higher risk of death from any cause simply because of a low correctable vitamin level. That's why vitamin D3 is so critical. It doesn't just support bone health, it modulates your immune system, helps regulate inflammation, improves muscle function, and even supports cognitive health. And it's especially important for seniors whose immune systems are naturally weaker and who are more vulnerable to viruses, respiratory conditions, and chronic disease. So how much should you take? Most experts recommend 1,000 to 2,000 IU per day of vitamin D3 for seniors, though. Some people may need more, depending on their levels. The only way to know for sure is to get your blood tested, specifically your 25-hydroxy vitamin D level. If it's low, supplementation is simple, inexpensive, and highly effective. And it could make the difference between sluggish health and vibrant longevity. So now you know vitamin D3 isn't just about bones. It plays a powerful role across your entire body, including your heart, brain, and immune system. And when your levels are low, every cell in your body feels it. But vitamin D3 is just one piece of the longevity puzzle. Let's move to vitamin number 2, an essential nutrient that fuels your red blood cells, sharpens your memory, and protects your nerves. And yet millions of older adults are quietly deficient and don't even know it. Before we get there, let's finish D3. Vitamin D3 has a direct influence on how your immune system functions. It helps activate your immune cells, reduces chronic inflammation, and strengthens your body's ability to repair itself after illness or injury. That's why people with healthy D3 levels don't just get sick less often. They also recover faster when they do. And it doesn't stop with immunity. In your brain, D3 helps regulate mood, cognitive function, and memory. Low levels have been strongly linked to symptoms of depression and a significantly higher risk of dementia in older adults. Here's the challenge: most seniors are deficient, and most multivitamins don't contain enough D3 to correct that. The standard recommendation from diet and sunlight alone is 600 to 800 IU per day. But research shows that most people over 65 need at least 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily just to keep their blood levels in a healthy range. If your levels are already low, and they often are, especially during the winter months, you may need even more under medical supervision. The best form to supplement is cholecalciferol, also known as vitamin D3, not D2. It's more bioactive, better absorbed, and closer to the natural form your skin produces from sunlight. D3 is available in soft gels, tablets, liquids, and capsules, and it's best taken with food, especially meals that contain fat, to boost absorption. Now let's talk about one of the most underrated yet essential nutrients for seniors. Vitamin number 2, B12. If you're over the age of 65, there's a very good chance you're already low in vitamin B12 and don't even realize it. The signs are subtle at first. You feel more tired than usual. You forget small things. Maybe your hands or feet tingle from time to time. But over time, a B12 deficiency becomes serious. It can mimic the early stages of dementia. It can affect your muscle strength. It can weaken your balance and coordination, and the longer it's left untreated, the more permanent the damage becomes. Vitamin B12 is crucial for maintaining healthy nerves, producing red blood cells, and supporting brain function. But as we age, our bodies slowly lose the ability to absorb B12 from food, and the reason lies in your stomach. Older adults tend to produce less stomach acid, and that acid is needed to release B12 from the protein in foods like meat, eggs, and dairy. Without that acid, B12 remains trapped, never reaching your bloodstream. And to make things worse, many seniors are on acid-blocking medications or drugs like metformin, which only intensify the problem. So here's the hard truth: even if you're eating all the right foods, you could still be slipping deeper into a B12 deficiency. And this isn't just about memory loss. Low B12 levels can lead to weakness in the legs, unsteady walking, frequent falls, nerve misfiring that makes movement feel off. Many seniors assume it's arthritis or just getting older, but the real cause might be something much simpler and much easier to fix. So how do you fix it? The first step is to stop relying on food alone. After 60, food-based B12 becomes unreliable unless your stomach acid is strong, which for most people it's not. The better solution is to supplement with a direct form of B12 like methylcobalamin or cyanocobalamin. These forms bypass the stomach entirely and are absorbed straight through your mouth lining or intestinal wall. What's the ideal dose? For most seniors, 500 to 1,000 micrograms per day is enough to maintain healthy levels. Some people may need more, especially if blood work shows a deficiency. Fortunately, B12 is water-soluble, so your body will flush out any excess it doesn't need. You can take it as a daily tablet, a sublingual lozenge placed under the tongue, or in more severe cases as a weekly injection prescribed by your doctor. If you're over 65 and haven't had your B12 checked recently, it's time to ask for a simple blood test. It could turn out to be one of the most important numbers in your entire lab report. Because here's the thing, when your B12 is low, every other system in your body struggles to keep up. But when it's restored, something amazing happens. Your brain muscles and nerves can begin functioning like they did 10 years ago. Coming up next, the number one most important vitamin for adults over 65, the one that supports everything from your heart and immune system to energy and longevity. Stay tuned. So far, we've covered the essential nutrients every senior over 65 needs to stay sharp, steady, and strong. From magnesium to B12, each plays a powerful role. But the final nutrient on our list might just be the most important one of all, not just for your body, but for your entire future. Number 1, omega-3. Fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA. Now, this isn't your typical vitamin, but if you're over 65, omega-3s are every bit as essential and arguably more impactful than anything else we've discussed. EPA and DHA are types of omega-3 fatty acids your body can't make on its own, and yet they're critical for protecting your heart, your brain, your joints, your immune system, and your overall quality of life. These fats have been researched more extensively than almost any other supplement, and the data is staggering. A landmark 2021 study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed over 42,000 adults aged 60 and older. The results: those with the highest omega-3 blood levels had a 36% lower risk of death from all causes. That's not just living better, that's literally living longer. And the benefits didn't stop there. Another study in Circulation showed that seniors taking omega-3 supplements had a 45% lower risk of fatal heart attacks. That's nearly half. Imagine cutting your chances of a heart-related death almost in half just by supporting your body with a single nutrient. So why are omega-3s so powerful? Because they touch nearly every system in your aging body. They build and repair brain tissue, reduce chronic inflammation, keep blood vessels flexible, regulate heart rhythm, strengthen immune response, support joint mobility, and reduce stiffness. In short, omega-3s help you think clearer, move easier, sleep deeper, and age better. And yet here's the shocking truth: over 68% of Americans over 60 are deficient in omega-3s. Why? Because most people simply don't eat enough fatty fish, and many don't supplement correctly. The best food sources of omega-3s are cold water fish, like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, anchovies and herring, algae-based sources for plant-based diets. But for most seniors, diet alone isn't enough to meet the body's true omega-3 needs. That's where high-quality fish oil supplements come in. What should you look for? A supplement with at least 1,000 milliliters of combined EPA and DHA per day. If you have heart disease or chronic inflammation, 2,000 milligrams or more may be appropriate. Choose a product that is third-party tested for purity, free of heavy metals, and ideally in triglyceride form for better absorption. Take it with a meal that contains fat to reduce any fishy aftertaste and maximize uptake. And if you're vegan, allergic to fish, or simply prefer plant-based options, algae-based omega-3 supplements are a fantastic alternative, especially those rich in DHA. Here's why it matters. EPA and DHA form the structural building blocks of your brain. They help your cells communicate, reduce oxidative damage, and prevent the decline in brain volume often associated with aging. When you're over 65, omega-3s aren't a bonus, they're a necessity. They don't just help you live longer, they help you stay you longer. For anyone who wants to stay mentally sharp, physically mobile, and emotionally balanced well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond, omega-3s are as close as we've come to a nutritional insurance policy. You've now seen both sides of the story. Some vitamins like omega-3s, B12, D3, and magnesium can help you thrive. Others like high-dose B6 calcium or retinol may be quietly undermining your health even when the label says for seniors. The real lesson aging well isn't about taking more. It's about taking smarter. It's about understanding what your body needs now, not what it needed 20 years ago. It's about cutting the harmful extras, choosing nutrients that work with your body, and supporting the systems that matter most: your heart, your brain, your nerves, and your independence. So here's the question. What's in your medicine cabinet right now? Are those pills protecting your future or quietly stealing it? If something in this video surprised you or made you think differently, tell us in the comments. Which vitamin on this list shocked you the most? If this helped you, share it with someone you care about. Tap the like button, subscribe to the Life After 60, and turn on the bell, because every week we break down science-backed ways to help you live stronger longer. This channel is here for you, not just to inform, but to empower. To help you take control. To help you protect your body, your mind, and the life you've built. Because here at the Life After 60, we believe your story isn't over. It's entering its wisest, most powerful chapter yet. Stay strong, stay sharp, and keep living with intention. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.